It took until the 21st game of the season, but for the first time in 2025, the Philadelphia Union have suffered back-to-back losses. We'll go over the club's heartbreaking 1-0 loss to Nashville over the weekend and see what they can do to stop the losing skid as they welcome their biggest rival into town on Saturday. All that and more as Union Insider starts right now. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm Dave Leno in for Marisa Pilla this evening, joined by legend Sebastian Sheanon and Sheanon Williams, my pals, back to be with you guys. So great to be here in the studio with everybody. The Union were looking to get back in the win column against Nashville SC on Saturday night, but a late penalty and ensuing PK conversion down the Union for their first losing streak of the season. Now, after the game, here's what head coach Bradley Carell had to say about the Union's 1-0 loss to Nashville.
First of all, great to have Ty Baribo back. Second of all, congrats to BJ. Yeah, I mean, he's had put on a performance with his team that got better with a man down, more aggressive than us, and we're going to have to take that on the shoulders and learn from that. And yeah, it's unfortunate the way the game ended, but like I said, there's many positives, and I think down the road, we're getting our players back and we're getting more competitive, and we can now create the normal training environments that we need, and excited about the next couple of days. You know, the onus is on us. We all have to be making decisions, and if the ref makes a decision, he got sent to the monitor, so there was a clear and obvious, counter argument to his original decision. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is, but it's always in our court. We can make the slide tackle or not. We can make the extra recovery or not, and stay on our feet. But yeah, these are lessons we have to learn, and they're a tough opponent. But no excuses today.
All right, guys, to Bradley's point, so a little disgruntled at the end of that game. Questionable decision by Owutu Makanya late on Hani Mukhtar. Seba, first with you, how crushing was that defeat for the Union on the road to end the 3-game road swing?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of disappointing just because of the fact that we know it's going to be a tough, opponent in Nashville. Very good defensively, tough stadium to play at and getting 3 points. But when we saw, in the second half, getting a red card and having the team playing at 11 against 10, we were kind of like feeling that, okay, we can, now maybe push a bit more forward and try to get that goal to get the win of the team. But we felt like it was a kind of really not really a lot of solution, in the final third for the team to try to break down this defense of Nashville, who play very well. They were compact. It's kind of the way they play, usually even at 11, but very hard to break down. But I feel like we were kind of too slow. I'm not sure if it's, the weather. We were all, at the game over there. It was very humid, very hot. Maybe, the team were not prepared for that. But I feel we were kind of lacking a speed of play, in a lot of the offense we were trying to create in the second half. It was a bit too easy for Nashville to even, and we never really put, Willis, beside maybe the free kick of Kai Wagner on the post, kind of in danger. It was a bit too easy for them. So I know we are not in full strength. Offensively, I think we are missing a few guys. Baribo came in the second half, but we need to be better, create opportunity and be more danger, into the box.
Speaking of being more dangerous into the box, the Union were up a man from the 63rd minute on. Sheanon, a little bit of trend going on. The Union playing up a man but not being able to capitalize. How does that get fixed moving forward?
Yeah, obviously, when you look back at the game, you like to say, okay, throw on as many attackers as possible. I know that Bradley Carell still wants to make sure that his team is well balanced, but I think that they can have a little bit more risk, especially being up a man. You can add some attackers, maybe at right back, add some guys that are going to get forward. I thought that Nashville in that second half, after going down a man, didn't have much going forward, and that would allow you to have some attackers on the field. I felt the same way in Dallas when they got the red card in the first half. They just aren't able to create enough chances with the players that they have on the field. And also, when a team gets a red card and changes their shape, I think it's important that you also change your shape to match that, to really push them into their own end and keep them there. I think that too many times it's been a little bit too conservative, being up a man and not really going for the full 3 points. Obviously, you know that you don't want to give up the goal, which they end up doing against Nashville, but I think that they can have a little bit more risk, especially they're playing up a man for such large chunks of time. In that Dallas game, they played up a man for over a half. In that last game against Nashville, they played up a man for 30 minutes plus. So again, would like to just see them take a little bit more risk when they're up a man.
Look, there's been trade-offs this year, right? As Union fans know, we've scored late in games, evident back on June 14th, late in the 98th minute by Marcus Anderson, but we've allowed late goals amongst many that Sheanon described. Also, the Miami game, the Segovia, the 95th minute, and also in the matchup as well at home against another club. So, Seba, needless to say, the Union did have some opportunity in the game to score. Bruno Damiani got robbed off the line by Palacios early in the game. Kai Wagner rang one off the crossbar, or off the post on a set piece that Glezis ran over and laid it off for Kai in the 83rd minute. So the chances are happening, but just not capitalizing right now.
Yeah, it's not capitalizing, and I think the strength of the Union, the way they play, I think it's having their fullbacks, kind of moving forward. I know we are doing a lot of set pieces right now, trying to capitalize on those corner kicks and free kicks from Kai Wagner, but I would like to say kind of the same way we have been attacking at the beginning of the season. I remember the first win, in Orlando, it was a lot of pressing, high, winning the ball, up the field, and having, Westfield and Wagner who played that game, getting assist, and really helping the team offensively. You don't see that as much. I know, we were liking on players, having kind of a rhythm of the game. It was, 2 away games against 2 good teams, Columbus and Nashville. Maybe we're kind of hoping to maybe just get 1 point out of this game, but I would like to see again, this mentality is that we go away, we have nothing to lose, we play to score, and we defend as a team like they have been doing. So it could be, a lack of energy. The guys can be a little bit tired, but I think those 2 losses, 1-0 against 2 tough opponents who are going to play, for the first place in the East with the Union, it was a good test. Now you can see, the team need to come back to the basics and really come back to the way they were playing at the beginning of the year to try to get a result when they play away in big atmosphere like Nashville or Cincinnati, because it's going to happen again at the end of the season. Yeah,
I'm thinking back to the previous comment. Sawatsky was the player for Columbus that scored late, I believe the 93rd minute on a set piece swung in by Columbus. So, Sheanon, Kevin Sullivan in this game made his first MLS start at 15 years young, which is remarkable. What did you make of the shift that Kevin provided out there and what it means to him moving forward for the Union?
Yeah, I thought it was a good first shift for Kevin. This is a player with massive potential. We all know that. I think he would have liked to have shown a little bit better, but I liked what he did show. He liked to take players on. He had a few good key passes to open up the field of play, and there's going to be more to come from Kevin. He has a bright future ahead of him. This was also a huge game, 1 versus 3, so it wasn't 1 versus the bottom of the league, and I thought that they did a good job of just letting him get into the game, letting him start the game, and feel how the flow of the game is from the beginning. I think that there's, again, more to come from him, but it was a good first start for somebody that has a really bright future moving forward.
What did you make of Kevin's night?
Yeah, I think it was a start that everybody was kind of waiting for him to do. We all know when he plays, with the Union 2, he's always having a great game. He scored, the past game. That's why I think he got called by Bradley Carnell to start this game. But like Sheanon said, it was a tough opponent, a tough atmosphere. He's still young. Of course, you can see sometime a little bit being shy on his first touch, to kind of get into the game. But he got some, good moment here and there, winning some fouls. But I think physically as well, you can see that he can still, of course, get into let's say, an adult body. He's still, 15, so it's going to come. But more you play, it's usually how you get the experience, and it was great to see him, get his first start.
As we mentioned earlier, it was a late penalty that did the Union in on Saturday night. We're now going to go over what happened on that lead up to that penalty right now as we bring you to this week's Key Play of the Week presented by Subaru. Sheanon's at the big board to break it all down. Sheanon, what went down?
Our Key Play of the Week is going to be the PK given up in the 96th minute by Owetu Makanya. As you can see, it comes off a throw-in, and Makanya's just not goal side. Obviously, the header by Mbaizo does him no favors. But then here, if we freeze it, I don't think that Hani Mukhtar has the best angle to shoot, and you have a multi-goalkeeper of the year in Andre Blake that I think can make this save, and sometimes you just got to let the attacker go. I think he gets a little overzealous here and looks to make the play and tries to make that tackle. This is a little bit naive for me. End of the game, you know that once you go to ground, you give the opportunity for the referee to make a decision. He ends up not seeing it, but they'll always catch it on VAR, and that's what ends up happening to Owetu Makanya. But again, it just starts from just not being on the right side of one of the most dangerous players for Nashville and Hani Mukhtar, and then he makes no mistakes on the PK. But again, just have to let him take that shot and hope that Andre Blake will bail you out, just like he has so many times in a Union goalkeeper jersey. And I think that that's something this Union team needs to get better at is this end of game defending. They just took a little lapse of concentration, and those things will hurt you in big games.
Sheanon well does that one little moment, Seba, that did the Union in, but hopefully they will avenge that with the matchup against the Red Bulls. We've got more Union Insider for you, but first, here's your Union trivia question presented by United Concordia. Kevin Sullivan became the second youngest player in MLS history to start a game on Saturday against Nashville. Who is the youngest? Find out the answer later in the show. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm Dave Leno. As we showed you last week, the construction of the Wisfis Bank Sportsplex is nearing completion. To give you more of an inside look and hear more of what it has to offer, here's Sage Hurley and team president Tim McDermott in the second part of our series on the project. Take a look.
It is really just transformative in terms of what's happened here. We did this for Chester, we did it for the Delaware County community, we did it for the region. It's really the first of its kind.
Do you have a message for fans, players, community members who are excited and anticipating the day that this building opens its doors?
Being able to put something like this here and what that means for our Union Academy and continuing what has been a really great tradition of success and development and being able to foster that more and more and more. It's amazing. And if you're a young kid in our academy and the ability to come here now and see what we have, this super campus that is literally first of its kind in North America, where we have a stadium, a sportsplex, a private school, all on one campus, is just, it's really amazing. There's going to be a lot of people who might not have been to a Union match that'll come down and see this and think, wow, this is pretty unique.
Can you give us an update on how construction is coming along?
We're anticipating a ribbon cutting ceremony in the mid to late July time period. And then shortly after that, we'll be up and running. And when I say up and running, that means our first team, second team, academy teams will all be using the space. And then we'll be also doing programming here for third-party programming, again, soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, basketball, volleyball.
Can you give us a glimpse into some of the parts that will make this even more special?
Well, probably the most special, most unique thing that we're going to do is a striker lab. And we'll have more to come on just what that means and what that entails. But what I would tell you is we will definitely be, the first in the country to have something like this. And the idea is we can use technology, we can use computers and cameras to really help a young soccer player craft their skills, learn how to strike the ball, learn how to kick the ball, and all the kind of dynamics and the physics that go into that. So that is one of the things that we're really excited about. That's going to be amazing, and like I said, first of its kind in North America. Very similar to probably what's been done with Wake Forest and their pitching lab. So that's going to be pretty special. I have young high school age kids now, and I've been on so many different sports complexes, fields, and I just try to take notes every single time I've gone to one of these places, whether it be for lacrosse or for soccer or some other sport, field hockey, and just like, what did I like about it? What were the little things that they did really well? And just bring all that back. Then you take that and you see what's happening in colleges. We looked a lot at what Clemson's doing and some of their stuff. And so taking the best and packaging it all together to create what we think is going to be just the most amazing sportsplex in North America.
We're coming up on a break for Union Insider, but when we return, we'll discuss how the Union can keep an impressive streak going against their rival this weekend. We'll be back right after this. Time for your Union update presented by Torque. The Union were supposed to play in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals against the New York Red Bulls Wednesday night. You can see from the picture there, the game was postponed due to inclement weather, but the crowd was lively and making noise, which is great to see. The makeup date for that one will be August 13th at Subaru Park. Can't wait for that one. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. With Seba and Sheanon, I'm Dave Leno, and now the Union will finally be back at home for a weekend matchup against their rival New York Red Bulls. So we're going to ask the guys for their keys to the game for this matchup. Of course, always presented by Subaru. Seba, what do you have first?
I'm going to go with the fact that playing Red Bull is always a different type of game. It's a derby. We have been very successful against them the past years, but it happened, I think, with the fact that we need to I will say, capitalize on our counter pressing. I think it's a big strength for the team. As soon as we lose the ball, can we be able, to win it back in the half of the Red Bulls half and be quickly, moving forward, into their box and create some opportunity on goal. It's been a big success, all year, the way that Carell have his team playing and pressing high and pressing together, one man at a time and really covering each other. I think if we do the same job against a Red Bull team who, is going to come here to get a result, we can be successful and hopefully, score early in that game.
And hopefully we could be a little bit more sharper in the transition moments as well, to your points. Sheanon, what do you got?
My key to this week's win will be to be good, playing out of this pressure that we know Red Bull will try to force on this Union team, a team that is going to come in all out, trying to press you, trying to have little turnovers. Can they do a good job playing out of that pressure and trying to find little instances where they can counterattack and get forward and bring numbers forward? If they can do that, 3 points should be in the bag.
All right, so another familiar matchup, as you guys know, you played in these matchups. It's Union against New York. It's hard to believe the last Red Bull win against the Union was before the Marco Fabian goal in the playoffs, the first Union playoff win 4-3 in the 2019 season. They last won the game before that in league play. So we're on a massive unbeaten streak against the Red Bulls. But what's this type of matchup for players like a Bruno Damiani, Jovan Lukic, who haven't played in a Union Red Bull matchup? What's going to be like in their shoes?
I mean, it's going to be a little bit different, but they're going to feel it. They're going to feel like the atmosphere, being hopefully electric at Subaru Park. But I think, for the team, the fact that they just came up, with 2 losses for the first time this season, not scoring, which, we kind of didn't see that a lot from the team this season because we have been on fire offensively. I think it's going to give them even an extra motivation to, come back into the basics and, try to find the back of the net against the Red Bulls. We are going to get a lot of guys back. We saw a little bit yesterday at the Open Cup during the warm-up that Baribo should be back in the starting 11. We have Nathan Carell coming back, Quinn Sullivan as well. So I think we have a full, lineup now for the team to really get a positive result and get back, with the 3 points against the Red Bulls.
And Sheanon, they're back at home, and we know the last couple of instances on our road swing against Columbus, we were smothered defensively, playing very deep defensively. Columbus more of a possession-based team, led MLS in possession at that point of the game. Nashville, again, few opportunities in the first half outside of Damiani ringing one that was cleared off the line by Palacios. So my question is, how can we get more into the attack in half number 1 early against the Red Bulls? How can we set the tone against New York?
I think it has to be the press. I think that's been this team's strongest asset this year. I think having these guys back, they'll be excited to be back at home, back in their own environment after being away for the national team for 40-plus days. And I think that those guys will bring that energy. Seba talked about the atmosphere that I know everybody's going to be excited about. This is a game that all the fans circle as one of the most important games of the season. And I think that's led to it being the unbeaten streak that they've been on since 2019 is the knowing how important this game is to this organization and to this franchise. 3
wins in the last 10 across all competitions for New York. Some of the stalwarts for them that have been playing really well. Emil Forsberg, who we haven't really seen a lot last year. Remember, he was injured a bunch for them. He's got 7 goals, 4 assists. But another guy, Seb, who's played a ton in Germany and also in England, Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, 11 goals. How could you deny Forsberg and Choupo-Moting in this matchup on Saturday?
I mean, they need to make sure they are close to them and they put some pressure when they're on the ball, but they are definitely the 2 big leaders of this Red Bull team, who is, I will say, kind of in a young side besides those 2 with their experience and playing, in Europe. So can, the Union, especially in the midfield with Forsberg, who will have more, let's say, a free role, to kind of pop up in different areas to get the ball and try to find Choupo-Moting, who is very good, inside the box. I think it is strength he has been doing, especially in a Bayern or in a PSG when he used to play there in the past 2 clubs. He's strong, he can win the ball in the air. So can we deny, service in the box to Choupo-Moting, especially from Forsberg, or having Forsberg, not winning those second balls because he's very good, from distance, finding the goal. And like you say, he has been, much better for the New York Red Bulls this year than he was the past season.
It's time for the last break of the show, but when we return, we'll bring you our final thoughts as the Union prepare to host their biggest rival at Subaru Park on Saturday. We're back right after this timeout. Here's the answer to this week's Union trivia question presented by United Concordia. Former Union player Freddie Adu is the youngest player in MLS history to start a game doing so for DC United as a 14-year-old way back in 2004. It's our final segment on Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now it's time for the guys to share their final thoughts for this episode. It's called Final Whistle, always presented by Allstate. Seba, how can the Union get 3 points against the Red Bulls?
I think, they're going to be all happy to come back home. It's been a long time we didn't play at Subaru Park. We've been 3 games away. Didn't play in the Open Cup on Wednesday, so they're going to be fresh to, bring a lot of energy into that game, go back to the basics, play together as a team, and try to put pressure, right away on this, Red Bull team to hopefully get a goal early. And can we see, another brace, for Baribo to get back on track after, missing a few games for the team?
Sheanon, how are they going to get it done?
I'm excited to have some players back for this game. I think that Quinn Sullivan's creativity and also Nathan Harriel in the back are going to be key players moving forward throughout the rest of the season. Can they do a good job of integrating back into this team? This is the team's first losing streak of the season. What better place to end that than at home against New York Red Bull?
Put the hands together, everybody. It's a big one. You could smell it from the studio, and you at home can't wait for the match against the Union and the Red Bulls. That will do it for this episode of Union Insider. The Union are finally back home on this rivalry night against the Red Bulls at Subaru Park. Seba will be on the call with me in the booth. Hopefully my notes and everything don't fall out on all the goal calls that we have for the matchup. But that one can be on 97.5 The Fanatic for radio, also seen on MLS Season Pass at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So one final time for Sebastian Letou and Sheanon Williams. I'm Dave Leno. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.